RFK is banning low IQ water to make America smart again. True or false?
Yes.
In this episode, we're joined by Joseph Everett from the YouTube channel What I've Learned with over 2 million subscribers, where he talks about fasting, extreme diets, and debunking common health myths. And we're diving into RFK's controversial proposals for American health, and whether it's just based on bro science, why Joseph is calling out Byran Johnson in a 30-day series, maybe a boxing match, the surprising benefits of dry fasting, and whether wearing Bluetooth headphones is the same as putting your head into a microwave. So put in your seatbelts, let's get into it. RFK is making some wild decisions that will either change America forever, or it's going to create riots in the streets. And there's a questionable group of people that are steering RFK's decision, and we need to talk about it. But let's start with a game of true or false. I've picked the 7 decisions that RFK is making for America's health, and you say whether it's true or false. But the stakes are real. Let me just pick this real quick. Here are the stakes. If you get more than 50% right, you're rewarded with a shot of Byran Johnson's olive oil. The highest quality olive oil with tons of polyphenols, whatever that means, in it. If not, you're getting a shot of seed oil straight to the brain.
Oh my God.
And you'll have oil brain for the rest of the episode. And the same goes for you, by the way.
Whoa. I did not sign. I'm watching this happen. I'm going to fail this exam.
You signed the contract.
Yeah, but I don't know.
want
I
me
don't
to
know
pull it up
anything.
again?
I don't think
I'm
he's
pretty
pulled.
nervous.
Yeah, like
I'm like-
I'm not into this space. He
All right,
is.
then just get it right. Listen, I
Dude, if you're not into the space, it's like worse for me because
Yeah,
I know
that's the
how
point.
bad it is.
It's a lot more embarrassing. I have nothing to lose.
Okay. Trust that I have set you up to win. You will easily be able to tell whether these are true or false. Good? All right, let's get into it.
It's dramatic. I'm so sorry I had to deal with this.
True or false? Number 1. Is this a true news story? Breaking news, RFK is imposing a forced dopamine detox on children.
False.
What's that?
How would you enforce that? False.
False?
I mean, yeah. Did you get rid of TikTok? Like,
False?
false.
Driven fact check team came in and it's confirmed.
The cell phones also produce electromagnetic radiation, which has been shown to do neurological damage to kids when it's around them all day, and to cause cellular damage and even cancer. So, a cell phone use and social media use on the cell phone has been directly connected with depression, with poor performance in schools, with suicidal ideation, with substance abuse, and it's the other countries that have done this. The states that are doing this have found that it is a much healthier environment when kids are not using cell phones in schools.
Mr. Secretary, you've talked
And the
about
teachers loved it.
I bet.
yeah, the parents do.
So
I see. I would actually agree with a dopamine detox. I think that'd be good. I just didn't understand how such a thing could be enforced. So
yeah, well, he's taking cell phones. He wants to take cell phones out of schools. So it's true. You guys, you missed that.
Wow.
So that's a loss.
That was a trick question. You
That's
said
a true headline.
But that was a trick question. You obviously knew we would say we would answer it by saying it's not going to be enforced.
Listen. You lost the game.
This is
You
why,
have more chances.
That's why I hate being on this podcast. All right, you never know what you're going to get.
We've fact checked every headline with the Driven Fact Checkers branch that we have recently launched in our company. Deal with it. Hate the player, not the game.
I think that's a fair headline. I think I just kind of misinterpreted it.
Yeah. See,
Ownership.
somebody taking responsibility. Thank you.
You make me look
Good.
bad.
You-
Right?
yeah.
Help me.
All right. I'm sorry. One thing he does talk about is that it's also been shown to just cause cellular damage and even cancer, and that's what a lot of people say. This is bro science. What do you know about it? What have you learned?
On, I guess, EMF, and is it causing cancer? I haven't dug into that a lot. I want to say that cell phone use was associated with glioblastomas. I might have seen a paper on that before, but I don't know enough about it to be able to say anything that useful. So I wouldn't.
What's a glioblastoma?
It's a type of brain cancer, basically. If I'm, I might not even describe that right. So probably not the best thing to ask me on.
Yeah, a friend of ours had a brain tumor, and he's into all of that sort of stuff. He survived brain cancer, and he said that as a teenager he was spending tons of time on his phone, just like talking to girls and girlfriends, and just spend a lot of time on his phone. He's just like, okay, keep me away from that stuff. But
one thing on that is I have heard the argument that AirPods are really bad because it basically.
I just bought AirPods.
Oh my bad,
because I thought it wasn't so. Dude, they're $200. You're gonna take that away from me now?
I'm sorry, man.
All right, skip into the next one.
Yeah.
La, 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 la. No.
But basically, it creates the EMF field. It's going between the two pods, so you basically like placed your brain right in between, like the strongest point of EMF radiation. It's like, I guess a way you could think about it is like there's some suspicion that holding your phone to your head like this is bad. So then imagine if you're doing like this at all times. And yeah, that's, I'd have to dig into the details, but I thought that was an interesting point. People would get like EMF meters, place it between the AirPods. They place it like next to the AirPods and then between it, and it would just like go haywire.
Oh God. I remember Elon Musk saying in some interview, like, hey, this you can strap a bunch of like phones, duct tape into your head. It's not going to make a difference. And he's launching Neuralink, like literally technology straight into the brain. So there's always biases. Right. I've been using wired headphones up until like a month ago, and I bought AirPods.
I've been using AirPods for like 4 years. So
yeah, look what it's done to you.
Exactly. So he's right.
Number 2, RFK is updating the food pyramid. True or false?
Wait, to that or just to something else?
Just take it, just true or false.
Okay, true. So, this is what it could look like if it was him. However, it's a title from the Babylon Bee, so it's not that one. So you guys messed up again.
You see what I mean? It's a trick. I'm telling you, I saw this meme before.
Okay, why did you say true then?
Because I thought it was true. I saw the meme before. That means I thought it was true because I saw the meme.
This is a satire news site. You know that, right?
That's why I would have said false if you meant to that. Like no.
Okay, you guys still have chances.
Okay.
The oil brain is coming closer. You guys are getting seed oil straight to the brain. This is something that you talked about on your channel, right? The oil brain, which you know how to deal with, so you're fine. Emad, I'm sorry, but you still have chances. There's 5 more headlines, right? But yeah, he is doing work in that direction.
Into health and nutrition, because the government telling us to eat 12 to 15 servings of bread a day was crazy. And so how willing would you be to look at a new food pyramid and instituting one?
We're doing that right now. When we came in, the Biden administration had created new nutrition guidelines, but they were unworkable, and they were supposed to go into effect on January 20th. I asked President Trump to give us permission to kick the ball down to March.
It was like a long list of things, like a 500-page document. But he was like, give us a 3-page document that we can give to parents, to children, to the American people. So it's very easy to understand. Okay, this is it. So yeah, Driven Team has fact-checked this one. Sorry guys, you're wrong again.
Wait, but he just said he's updating it. So that's
but not to not to this one.
Okay, so that was the question.
Guys,
I'm telling you, it's a trick question. You can't trust him. You came here gullible, thinking he was gonna support you.
We know you have trust issues, and everything you see, everywhere you look, you see betrayal. But listen, I've set you up for success here, and like deal with it. What are your thoughts on the food pyramid thing?
If the original food pyramid.
Yeah, and just like what should it be updated to? Because
oh man,
it could be true. I mean, a lot of meat as the base.
Yeah.
I eat a pound of beef a day.
Okay.
Sometimes 2 pounds.
what does he have? He's got raw egg yolks, beef tallow, whale hormones.
I like that one. Such a friendly whale.
Cheeseburger and President Trump only. I see.
Cheeseburger and Diet Coke, President Trump only.
Methylene blue.
Oh, yeah. I like some ghost pheromones.
Have you looked into methylene blue? Have you tried it?
Not too much. My understanding. So there's someone called Chris Masterjohn who is he's fantastic if you want to know the really deep biochemical mechanisms of different nutrition protocols. And he did a really great post and video on methylene blue, basically explaining that it might be good for certain people and in certain circumstances, but there are a lot of issues and potential side effects coming from it. One of the things he explained is that, going to the specific context where it might be okay is in the case of hypoxia, it might be okay. So a low oxygen environment. So he gave the example of someone who was explaining that they couldn't work very well on an airplane, but methylene blue seemed to help with that. And then also methylene blue seemed to improve their breath hold time. So like in that particular instance of low oxygen environment, it might be good. The other thing is, if you have an issue with your mitochondria, it might be good, but other than that, it's not something that you should just take because it's not like caffeine where like everyone is just gonna benefit from it.
Okay, I gotta dive deeper into it because I have been taking it like that.
Okay.
And
has it made you feel better?
Yeah. I haven't noticed anything bad, and I take it when I'm traveling or when I'm recovering from just stress or also lack of sleep.
Yeah, it might be good in particular context, but it's worth checking out his article on it to see so you can tailor it properly and maybe not do it excessively.
Yeah, too much of anything is bad, right? Next one, you guys have another chance. RFK is imposing a Luigi tax on all pharma companies.
I say no, because it's so goofy. A Luigi tax,
dude. There are some twisted way where he'll find a way to make this true.
The Luigi tax.
I want to say true just because I know he's gonna spin it, but I also
the Luigi tax is in quotation marks. So that kind of gives the freedom to,
for you to be able to make it correct.
He is working on pretty much defunding the news by proposing to ban TV advertising for Big Pharma, which is only allowed in the US and New Zealand. And this could literally
wait a minute, what, you can't do Big Pharma ads?
Billions of dollars go to TV advertising from Big Pharma. It's the biggest customer of these. And so here's someone who did a breakdown of it actually.
In practice, this could theoretically shut down MSNBC and CNN. Fox has a little more cushion, but they too will lose roughly 10% of all their revenue. They make about $1 billion a year and $100 million roughly from pharma health advertisers. That would put them in massive trouble. Of course, other companies would fill the ad gap. Insurance companies, tech companies, car brands, beer companies, all of them. But none pay as well as Big Pharma. So your nightly news might get more Geico and less Lipitor. Or maybe we'll get lucky and they'll bring back Kendall Jenner so she can solve racism.
Love it.
Oh, God.
To solve racism.
Yeah, great. It's so easy. It's that easy. So, yeah, sorry, guys. The Luigi tax, it was in brackets. It's just.
So, was it true?
Yeah, well, he's deep.
What'd I tell you? I'm telling you, dude.
This has been a setup.
100%.
Oil brain is okay. People eat Cetos all the time. If you just take a shot, it's fine. But what are your thoughts? Big Pharma spends billions of dollars in advertising on TV, only in the US and New Zealand.
In Japan, you don't have any commercials like that.
Yeah.
The other thing is it's such it's so tricky because technically all the information is presented, but it's a really good explanation of human behavior and what kind of marketing works, because they'll associate the efficacy of the drug with some kind of nice, beautiful scene on TV.
The imagery.
And then at the end, it's the side effects are read out in the driest way. Yeah. Causes dry mouth, diarrhea, diabetes, death. Just
You experiencing depression? Well, if you buy this, you'll experience even more.
yeah. You have suicidal ideation.
Yeah.
You just got
That's
crazy.
actually
Level
right?
2.
Yeah. That's
Like
one of the side effects.
even Chase, who was on the channel recently, and has been on the channel multiple times. He's been dealing with temporal lobe epilepsy. So he had like 9 seizures a day, which is why he got on methylene blue, and he's raving about it.
And it helps with that.
It stopped all seizures for him.
Oh, okay.
And the moment he stopped taking it, he forgot taking it for a few days. Right before he went on Joe Rogan, he had another seizure.
Really?
And so he was talking to doctors as well about like, okay, what can I do here, right? And some of the side effects from some of the things that were proposed were seizures.
Oh,
it's like, yeah, this will help with the seizures. But one of the
it might give you a seizure.
Yes, a different kind of seizure maybe, but like just switch it up. But
Yeah.
like terrible. I think this will shake the economy. Crazy. Like how many people will lose their jobs, and how much revenue are people going to miss out on? The big pharma companies, right? I should say, not people. But man, it's the step in the right direction. Like it really is. And there's some people that are arguing against it because they hate everything that RFK is doing, and they're like, oh, people are going to die from this because they're not going to be informed. It's like, no, don't worry about that. People are not going to die because they don't know what medication to take. It's not an educational advertisement. So
technically, they could die because they don't know what medication to take.
Yes. Is it worth those losses for the people that will be saved by, like,
Fair enough.
I don't know. You gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
Well, I mean, it was a couple of million people, right?
Oh, you think a couple of million people will die from not getting ads from Big Pharma?
Imagine they need Tylenol and they don't get it.
Show me your stock investments, please, Mr. I invested half my net worth in Pfizer.
It's all in video.
All right. Okay, Mr. Pfizer. Okay. Wow, we have a lobbyist on the pod.
Dude, you know what's funny? Super side note. Somebody came to me, I want to say like a few months ago, to actually go and train sales teams for Big Pharma. And I told a couple of my friends about it, and I got a lot of flag for it. But I also ethically
So he is. You are part of the lobby. Holy.
No. I ethically couldn't do it. It was like a very good opportunity too. But I was like, what I would be doing would be long term not.
Was the amount that they were offering you, was it like head and shoulders above other clients?
It was a lot of money.
Wow.
The opportunity was actually like very good, but
Oh yeah.
No, it was like, because one of my clients is very big into the health space, and I like mentioned to her, she flipped. She's like, she gave me the whole breakdown, and I was like, okay.
Wow.
I'm not gonna sell my soul to the devil.
Yeah. That's the Luigi tax. See this, anyways.
Yeah, but it's interesting, yeah, because they have literally their pockets are endless.
Yeah.
Like it's insane how
it's
much they're willing
scary.
to, you know what I mean?
Right.
Absolutely. RFK is banning low IQ water to make America smart again. True or false?
True.
Banning low IQ water. Yes. I think this is about fluoride.
True.
I'd say yes. True, excuse me.
Well, it's not like he's banning low IQ water though.
Just get to it. Is it true or
Driven
false?
fact check.
Don't.
It's false, but it's close. But the fluoride thing, you've heard about it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
About.
You're getting all your news from TikTok?
Dude, this is from, no, glad you asked. This is from the Harvard website. The average loss in IQ was reported as a standardized weighted mean difference of 0.45, which would be approximately equivalent to 7 IQ points for commonly used IQ scores, with a standard deviation of 15. Some studies suggest that even slightly increased fluoride exposure could be toxic to the brain. Thus, children in high fluoride areas had significantly lower IQ scores than those who lived in low fluoride areas. What do you think?
See, studies like these always throw me off because in the low fluoride and high fluoride, was there also poverty? And like if the high fluoride one was place of poverty, and then you have the low fluoride one is like a place of like wealth. I mean, duh.
Yeah, it's
not
causation, correlation. Good point. What do you? Yeah. You've looked at a lot of studies. You're very research heavy in your podcast. What do you make of this?
Yeah, the fluoride one is tricky, especially because of the confounding factors like he's talking about. I think there are some identified mechanisms that would suggest. So, like, for example, the calcification of the pineal gland. Have you heard of that one? That fluoride calcifies the pineal gland.
Yeah.
There's actually some studies suggesting that.
Oh,
You might want to argue the methods of the study or something, but that is not just a meme. It's actually
I remember hearing that. That must have been 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I heard that. While I was traveling in Australia, and I was like, and it's like this. I had this one housemate who literally one day, like he was doing everything. He was like doing coffee enemas. We saw these sprinkles on the toilet, and we're like, man, someone has like crazy diarrhea here. Like, what's going on? And it ends up on the toilet seat. Like, this is what is going on, boys? And it was that guy, and he didn't tell us that he was doing coffee enemas because he thought he had worms, and he got it confirmed by multiple doctors that said you're free of parasites. But he kept doing it, and so he was also the kind of guy who he would pull us aside one day, and he was like, guys, like, I know it's going to sound crazy, but it's happening right now. Like, a lot of the billionaires are moving to New Zealand right now. Like, all these things are happening right now. And, like, World War III is coming right now. And we need to move. We need to do something. And he was, like, freaking out. And he was like, I would never forgive myself if I didn't bring this to you guys. And we were just like, whoa, like, okay, like, we're going to listen to you, like, just to calm him down. But, like, nothing happened. Nothing happened. And he was also the guy who was like, dude, fluoride in the water is going to, like, it calcifies your pineal gland. And the pineal gland, I thought of like, oh, this is like the spiritual thing. Activate your pineal gland.
It's
and
tricky.
now I'm hearing this, right? So I'm like,
right.
This is by the way what the entire episode is going to be about, because we're going to have Guru of the Week as well, which is a segment that we do. And where's the line between this bro science and crazy conspiracies versus like, hey, here's actual health studies that prove this?
I think it depends on the packaging, and then people will often spin off. They'll take some nugget of truth and then spin it into something big that doesn't make sense. So, for example,
I would never do that.
So, for example, with the calcifying of the pineal gland, you might have some studies suggesting that happens to a particular degree. So then you got to ask, okay, what is the actual practical effects of that? Does that lower IQ? Does it lower like verbal fluency or something? Like, what aspect of cognition is it going to affect? But then, of course, you're going to have someone be like, oh, they're putting fluoride in the water so that they can capture our consciousness, and then we no longer have access to the higher realms, and like it's impeding our spiritual growth. So you always get something wild like that, or you'll have something just represented weirdly by a kind of kooky person. So, for example, Alex Jones said that they're putting chemicals in the water that are turning the freaking frogs gay, and there was a study that found, if I
the gay frog study.
Don't quote me on this, but it was a study finding that a particular chemical going into the water was making the frogs become basically switching sexes. If I remember correctly, that it was feminizing the frogs significantly to the degree that people were claiming that it's like, switching their sex. So
it wasn't gay frogs, it was trans frogs.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Next level.
Yeah.
That's even more clickable. Why didn't Alex Jones do that?
I don't know, but he was shouting and pounding the table when he said it, so it didn't really, people didn't quite see the significance, or they weren't very motivated to do anything about it or be interested in it.
Yeah.
One thing you said that I really loved is the way your friend framed it. I would never forgive myself if I didn't tell you guys this.
Yeah,
That is a phenomenal friend.
It came
Imagine
from
every
love.
week.
You're like, oh, I'm all ears. Like, tell me.
But genuinely him saying, by the way, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but like we were like wide open. We were like, oh, like he's like
He's a great storyteller.
he's being vulnerable.
Mm.
But then once he talked about the
gay
World War
frogs.
III,
Yeah.
or gay frogs were in there too as well, probably. Like the frogs have turned gay, some of them even trans, and all the billionaires are moving to New Zealand. This is the sign.
I think the biggest hit to his credibility was that he didn't clean the toilet after his enema.
That guy in general, he was very oily.
oily.
Like when he'd make food, it would end up like.
Man.
Like he's the kind of he was the kind of guy who would eat chicken wings with his hands and then wash his hands with cold water and like, okay, I'm clean now.
Horrible. Oh my god.
And you would smell the dishes and you could tell him exactly what he ate because it was just clean with cold water.
Disgusting.
Anyways, we talked about it before on the episode, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Wow.
yeah. In the US, a lot of people use just the fridge water, right? Because there's a filter in there and whatnot. But man, like I think that water is really bad. You want spring water, which has natural minerals, right? I've been using spring water here. It gets delivered every 2 weeks or once a month. And it comes in these 5-gallon water jugs. And I started tasting it. I'm like, it tastes kind of chemical. And I looked it up. And it has this plasticky taste. Because here in the Texas sun, it's like really hot. And I'm like, man, this is, I don't want to drink plastic leached water, which is probably terrible for my health. And I've been doing it for years. And now I'm testing out switching to glass bottles. It's like these big 5-gallon glass jugs. I'm going to be spending $150 a month on water. Spring, like Mountain Valley spring water that comes in glass jugs. But at the same time, I'm thinking water is the number one thing that I put into my body in terms of quantity. Like, might as well spend extra money on it, right? Because it seems like such a commodity, like water is water, but like it isn't. Especially if there's a bunch of junk in it. So
Right. Is it that Spring? I think it's Spring Valley or Mountain Valley.
yeah.
The green one that seems to be really popular here. So I feel like I saw a bunch of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the one that only comes in plastic bottles that I have been using, and I can taste it. Like it has a strong taste of like, is there chemicals in there or something? So
basically, you tasted it. You know what it causes, and you gave it to us.
you don't care.
Well, now I do. Because obviously you heard.
Now that you
now my
recognize it.
IQ is going.
Enlightening you to it, yeah.
My IQ is getting lower because of this water, and now you're just adding to it.
I'll get you some Mountain Spring Valley water next time
Disgusting.
in a bottle. Breaking news: no soda for poor people. RFK's decision to make sugar drinks a luxury item. We see
I'm
Trump.
gonna say true.
Say false. To switch it up a little bit.
No, you have to be on the same team.
No,
What is going on here?
no.
Well, it's neither true or false. Trick question, guys.
Are you okay? Listen, if you don't want to be here, you can just tell us. Like just tell me. Like
It is kind of true.
Now, states can begin to bar food stamp recipients from using federal funds to pay for sugary drinks. RFK Jr. announced the change Friday, making good on a core component of his Make America Healthy Again movement. Interested governors must submit a waiver to the Agriculture Department, where Secretary Brooke Rollins has already agreed to grant them.
Crazy obvious thing. I'm surprised that that's included in the program. Who made that decision? Who made the decision for people on food stamps? Oh, like they get sugary drinks with it. It's terrible for them.
Yeah, I mean it's going to cost them more money in the long run with the complications that are going to come from. I mean, assuming they drink it every day, then yeah, it doesn't make any sense to waste your limited budget on sugary drinks.
I will tell you, from somebody that I grew up in, a lot of my friends were on food stamps and like didn't have as much money growing up. Their fridges all full of like sugary drinks. Like,
Really?
But also myself, like Capri Sun, soda, Kool-Aid, like just everything was super, super sugary.
Yeah. I mean, just on your productivity, what it does. Like you have one of these drinks, you're tired after that. Like you just crash. You have a sugar rush and then you crash and you need more. It's just like, man, it's who made that decision?
Yeah, but also I feel like people didn't understand it back then as well. Like, so the information that's out here now around health is completely different than when it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, social media.
That was obvious even back then.
But it wasn't. That's the thing. You might say that. Like,
Okay, here's the thing.
because Coke was accepted by everybody for a really, like, growing up. Coke was literally, you drank Coke with everything.
Yeah, here's the thing. People knew it was unhealthy, but they didn't know how unhealthy it was. That's what I'm hearing.
I can agree with that.
Right? Because oftentimes I'm like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I know this is not that good for me, but once I hear the details about it, like, oh, okay, drinking from the fridge water, like drinking tap water, it's fine. But once you hear that, hey, low IQ, all that stuff, whether it's true or not, whether it's correlation or causation, you're like, I think I want to switch to, yeah, I think I want to switch to something else.
But also, like, I mean, how bad is lowering your IQ by 1 or 2 points? Like, but no, but like, I mean, no, but like,
I like this look.
no, but like, but no, but look at it from, I'm looking at it from a perspective. Okay, so like, if everything else is working out in your life, like, I mean, like, what are you gonna put on your priority list? You're like, I'm gonna be bankrupt. Do I really care about my IQ being lower by 2 points? Like on the grand scale of things. Do you kind of see what I mean or not?
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking like 1 point. 1 point might not be noticeable.
It depends where you're at. I think, I don't know what the term is, but the way IQ is determined is the higher you go, the more 1 point makes a difference. And the lower you go, the more 1 point makes a difference. Don't quote me on it. We're going to get the Driven Fact Check team on that as well. But
I think what I'm trying to get at is like, an IQ is not going to help you be happier. An IQ is not going to help you make more money. Like it might.
it actually gets in the way.
Exactly. But that's what I'm trying to say. So it's just like, I don't think an IQ is like a good measure. Like,
Yeah, personally, I want a higher IQ. You can have your low IQ. I'll let you fight for
I'll
it.
be happy
It's okay.
with happy relationship, money, and everything I need to survive in life or like thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think... Yeah, like if you're really dead broke, yeah, drink the water from the fridge. But like, I think most people listening to this that, you know, taking in the information, like they can invest some money into better water.
100%. I just don't like, I look at it as like the consequence of the action doesn't make sense for somebody to go in like, if there's other bigger problems happening.
Yeah.
Like if it was like, yeah, if you drink this water, it's gonna give you cancer. Okay, cool. Understandable. Yeah. That's something that I would completely, now leaving this conversation, I'd be like, I'm switching my water.
Yeah. What do you think of this one? Heavy metals are killing our families. RFK inspires parents to detox their babies for heavy metals.
Detox the babies. I'm gonna guess true. Just, you know, assuming there's no trick, I'm gonna guess true. That sounds like an RFK thing.
Guarantee it's gonna be false.
The Food and Drug Administration is doing this comprehensive review, or they've been ordered to, of American baby formulas. It's all part of this new initiative, and they're calling it Operation Stork Speed. The government's review was just announced one day after Consumer Reports shared their findings with the FDA that some of the top formulas they tested had concerning levels of lead and arsenic. It also comes on the heels of the shortages that shook the Biden administration back in 2022 and caused parents to be in a frenzy over whether they could even get the specific formulas that their infants needed. So Operation Stork Speed follows a big meeting with those top CEOs of those baby formula companies. And Kennedy is directing the Food and Drug Administration to work with industry leaders.
So yeah, if you look at a lot of the, like I've talked to people at the Health Optimization Summit about this too, doing analyses for like content when you ordering supplements or even just like food, the results are very concerning. Like so much stuff in there that you're like, how did this get in there? And how are people consuming all of this stuff? So no, he's not advocating for a heavy metal detox, guys. But
he's like detoxing their baby formula. I see.
Well, it's not detoxing; it's just preventing the toxing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's preventative. It's
He's
not. But you guys were close.
He's not like getting the babies in a sauna or something.
Yeah, like I don't know why you guys.
What do you mean we were close? It was a 50-50 chance. We weren't close.
Yeah, you guys. I just trying to make you feel better.
We've got every single question wrong.
Yeah, but I think again, were you guys breastfed by the way?
I was breastfed. Yeah.
You? I was not. And
We got to detox you.
I'm a little bit upset about it, to be honest, because I get sick easily. And a part of me thinks, is that because of that?
Just the water you drink.
You also got a 0 on the skin. On the skin
We'll get
report.
into that
You got
as
a
well.
perfect score.
Exactly. We'll get into that.
Okay.
Final one. After Gulf of America, French fries rebranded to American fries.
True.
Why not? True. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
You must have seen this, right?
RFK Jr. shocked many when he sat down for a meal with Fox's Sean Hannity. The pair dined at fast food chain Steak and Shake, eating burgers and fries in a bid to highlight the chain's switch to frying their food in beef tallow, which is a healthier alternative to traditionally used seed oils.
Do you think that makes a big difference? So, sorry guys, that was also false. They didn't rebrand it, but they're cooking it in beef. They're frying it in beef tallow now. Do you think that makes a big difference?
Yes. Basically, you have a lot of, especially the frying. So some people will argue it's kind of contentious whether seed oils by themselves are doing as much damage as like the most vicious opponents of seed oils are claiming. However, the frying, the high heating of seed oils, if you're using that same heating oil over and over again, there was this researcher called Martin Grootveld who did a study on this, and he found that the number of toxic aldehydes that were found in frying oil was some multiples above the safe limit set by probably the WHO. So yeah, if you want to look it up, it's Grootveld, and he did a study on this. And I think that is one of the more compelling arguments against fried seed oils. I think there's just so much to break down to, you'll be dueling papers. It's like, I have this paper suggesting seed oils is bad. Someone's gonna be like, I have this paper suggesting seed oils are okay. But then when it comes to fried seed oils, I think it's really hard to avoid, or it's really hard to defend these, especially with all, the toxic aldehyde byproducts created.
Yeah. I think it's a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of seed oil free restaurants here in Austin.
What I want to, just one quick comment on that, and this might be too perfectionist because we do need a bunch of steps in the right direction. You can't say like, we need people to eat more beef, but it has to be grass-fed beef. That's like the bar is way too high. So it's a step in the right direction. But my question is it 0% seed oils? Like, are the fries like pre-fried in canola oil and then fried in beef tallow? That's what I want to confirm.
That could be the case, right? Because even with grass-fed, like, you hear the word grass finish, you're like, what does grass finish mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the difference between the two?
Well, it's like, fed for a certain period of time at the end on grass before they're slaughtered. So it's not 100% grass-fed.
Yeah. So even that, if you have a grass-fed steak,
it's usually like grass-fed grain finished, I think, is the most common thing. I think grass-fed grass finished is the title that they'll put to be like, no, this was 100%.
Yeah. And what kind of grass are we talking? Is the grass fully organic?
Yeah. Is this organic alfalfa or
yeah. So
is
guys,
seed oil free alfalfa? What's going on?
Sorry. Here's the seed oil shot.
Dude. I'll get actual diarrhea. I'm not drinking that.
Imad,
I will also get actual diarrhea. Just learned that today.
He's got a point.
Can you just do it for the camera real quick? Like, just pretend.
Let me see it.
So we can get the clicks. Just pretend. It's okay. Just know it. Just pretend. It's just for the clicks. Whoa.
It's fucking disgusting.
Oh, you actually have some on your lips? Why'd you go that far? Dude. Are you okay? Are you okay?
See, that's
what I got diarrhea.
Your eyes are dilated, dude. You're sweating.
Dude,
what's going on?
That's one of the things with seed oils is like you'll have certain people are like really defend him, and then sometimes I'm just like, well, like they taste like crap. Like, do you even want to eat them, or you just want to, at the end of the day?
Oh, so there are a few powerful individuals that are secretly controlling him, and our Driven Investigation branch has tracked back to the sources that are behind RFK's decision, that have inspired him, and we found some really wild connections, including people like raw egg nationalists. This guy, have you heard of him? He's behind a lot of the decisions.
Yeah.
We have Celestial Being, this one.
How do you find these people?
We have Soulbra.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've seen Soulbra.
Well, long story short, it used to be Big Pharma. Now it's the Guru Industrial Complex that we got to be worried about. That have a direct pipeline from this weird Twitter to Washington, D.C.
Wait, are you serious? Like that's, or is this?
No, I'm not serious. But here's the thing: those are the people at the front lines of health that are like they're trying all the things.
A lot. Yeah.
They're taking a lot of things out of like, this is just how it is. You gotta sun your butthole, and it seems like a lot of that is making it to RFK. Yeah.
Methylene blue sure was a surprise when I saw that he was. I think someone took a video of him using methylene blue. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty well known that he uses it, right? So that was a little surprising.
Yeah, but I mean, even the thing with the radiation for the phones, like that thing it's not proven science. It isn't. It's more like anecdotal science where somebody is like measuring, like, hey, I have an EMF measurer, like here it is. Look, between the AirPods. Bzz.
Are you sure though? Like I'm.
Yes, no, I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not sure. But you know, there's like different layers of science. There's like the deep, like, hey, we have dozens of studies on it, like lots of studies. Then we have like in the outside, which is like, oh, there's some studies that suggest. Yeah. And then there's like some like, okay, like go and do it and see how you feel. Like this is clearly the right thing.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like
right?
if you're trying to say that it's conventional, accepted, how should I say? Like accepted by the conventional group of doctors and health physicians that you should not use a cell phone because it'll give you brain cancer. I think it's fair to say that no, that hasn't become the mainstream. I guess I was just kind of leaving the door open because I haven't investigated it enough to say one way or the other.
Now, having said that, I think this is a good direction. It's a better direction than what we've had in America.
Right.
Like it's way better. Like food stamps, like soft drinks. When you're on food stamps, like really, who made that decision? So even if he is wrong about a few things, and the big argument for the cell phone thing was the radiation is bad for the children, it's making them autistic, it's whatever. Maybe, but it's more so, hey, they're not going to be able to focus, and it just makes you unhappy to be doom scrolling. Yeah.
Exactly. There's some really robust studies finding that basically cell phone usage and social media usage is associated dramatically with depression.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a fair point. Like if he's wrong about the cancer, but then we get the cell phones out anyways, then yeah, okay, fair enough. It'll probably help.
Yeah. I like it. I'm a big fan of where things are going with that. And yeah, I feel good about it. Something I do not feel so good about. You've done a deep dive on Byran Johnson to see if he's a scam. Right? You looked a lot at his stuff. You made a lot of shorts to see if he's cake. I gotta do a quick disclaimer. You're going after my boy, Byran Johnson. He's my boy.
I saw he was on your channel.
He was actually in my Netflix documentary.
You did it, man. You got him on.
Yeah.
You got him on your doc.
Yeah. So what's going on there? You're almost at day 30 of looking into stuff that you're finding. Here's the thing. I'll take the stance of defending him.
Sure. Yeah, please do. So, yeah, like, why did I get into it? I would say, so he posted on Twitter, for the longest time, he had said that his diet was vegan by choice. So we have to remember a couple things. He said his diet was, vegan by choice. He's pretty funny. He's got some good memes. He said his diet was vegan by choice. He also has said many, many times that every calorie has to fight for its life. Like that's his kind of tagline. I feel like he's said it on any podcast where they're asking about how he, asking about the details about his diet. So he says every calorie has to fight for its life. And then he's also said things, oh yeah, and he commented about me recently. We can get into that.
Oh, wait, that's you?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, and I can see the resemblance. That's
well, because he cut out my face.
This is your hand and chest, yeah.
Yeah. And that was a community note that went up on my video for about, I posted a video on Twitter, and then that community note went on there for about maybe an hour. Someone put this community note citing the vegan subreddit on Reddit, saying that I'm like, funded by the beef industry because I interviewed this guy, Frank Mittliner, Dr. Frank Mittliner, who's an air quality specialist at UC Davis. And I was talking to him about cows' effects on the environment. And so some, I guess, fan of Bryan didn't like my video criticizing him. And then they somehow got this community note on me. And it was taken down within an hour because everyone was like, this is dumb. You're citing Reddit for the community note. So it's taken down. Somehow Bryan got a screenshot within that small time frame. And then he replied to my video maybe 2 days later. And then he used the screenshot of my video with the community note to make it look, well, I don't know if that was his intention, but it ended up looking like the community note's still there. You can go to my original post and you'll see that it's not there. So that's interesting. But that's actually that's relevant because that's how I got into investigating him. He had been saying his diet is justified by the best science. Every calorie has to fight for its life. And like all this hype up about how meticulous his diet was crafted. And for the longest time, he said he was vegan by choice. And then he posted this Twitter thread saying that here is the science behind why red meat did not make the cut to be in my diet. So I was thinking, okay, here's the justification. Here's the nice scientific breakdown of why he's vegan. And he posted all these studies. I looked at them. He posted 10 studies saying, beef
is it recent? Can I find it?
Type in.
Is he talking about here?
That's me too.
Bad actors are publicly.
Yeah, we can talk about that too if you want. So if you go to, you wanted to find the tweet that I'm talking about, my tweet?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm looking to find the tweet where he shows the why meat didn't make the cut.
Oh, shoot. Type in Byran Johnson red meat. That might pop it up.
Something else might pop up too.
His nighttime data.
Yeah.
I think that might be it. Yeah, go down. This is the reply to me. So go down a little bit. Go down. Yeah. So that's his reply to me. That's where go down. See, so he took that screenshot when that community note was still there, and it was there for like a second, and he somehow got that screenshot, and then that's what he used to make his counter arguments. He didn't at me, he didn't say my name directly, but it was clearly to me. So let me finish the thing about the issue with this. He posted all these different studies, and then I looked at the studies, 10 of the studies that he posted, and they were all these questionnaire-based studies that were like, how much pork did you eat last year? So like, do you guys remember how much pork you ate last year? Or let's say beef. How much beef did you eat last year?
I have no idea, but a lot.
Okay, would you say you ate it once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week?
More than that, way more than that. Like 5 times a week.
5 times a week? Okay.
6 times a week, yeah.
What about how many cups of orange juice did you have last year?
Dude, I have no clue.
There you go. This is the
0
nature.
for me.
Okay, no orange juice.
0 for me.
Ton of beef.
And probably
Every time
400 pounds of beef.
400 pounds of beef. Okay, maybe beef wasn't the best example because you guys remember the beef.
I eat beef every day.
That's what I'm saying. We eat a lot of meat. Like,
right. But like these things like lasagna, like how much lasagna did you eat? How much orange juice did you eat? How many like bowls of broccoli did you eat?
8 strings of lasagna.
Yeah. People don't remember this stuff. And so these questionnaire-based studies, so they do these questionnaires for people, and then they say, okay, who ate the most meat? And then like what diseases did they get? Or like what outcomes does that associate to?
It's correlative. It goes back to the water thing that you mentioned earlier, right? Which is like fluoride. Is it because they're poor neighborhoods?
Exactly.
So maybe fluoride isn't actually that.
Based on that, like what's legit? It's like if everybody's biased and everybody's always putting in their own spin on it.
Yeah, true, but there's kind of a hierarchy of studies you use. Someone could argue that these studies of using questionnaire-based studies where like you don't know if the guy ate the beef in the form of like a Big Mac or a steak with potatoes. Like you don't know that. That's another huge issue. Just what you were talking about with the fluoride. And so the thing is there's a different hierarchy of studies, like a randomized controlled trial. Of course, that's like supposed to be the top of the study hierarchy. But then these questionnaire-based studies, you could say this is like, it's like an investigative thing. So, okay, we found this data. We have no idea what it means because it's correlative, but now it's got us interested to investigate a little bit. And so it could be like a tiny little clue that you use as a stepping stone to do some proper research. But remember he made that thread, the 10 studies that I looked at, they were all this form of study. And so that was my point. That's why I went as far as saying, breaking down the scam science, the science he used was a scam because it's just so misleading. And this was supposed to be the science justifying why his perfect every calorie has to fight for its life diet is vegan. And so, you know, the reason I was so intense with my wording was because he's hyped up the diet for so long, and like he puts all the science into him. He's got a team of 30 doctors. It's like every calorie has to fight for his life. And then this is the level of justification he uses to say, this is why there's no meat in my diet. And so that's where I started. And that's all I wanted to put out. And then after that is when I was like, maybe I should look a little bit more. Cause it wasn't like I want to check out this guy's entire thing. I just kind of started there. And then, you know, a bunch of question marks popped up.
Yeah, I see his come from, because I think he's probably vegetarian or vegan because of also moral reasons, which I think is the best reason to be vegetarian or vegan, right? It's just like...
That's what he said at first, and I was fine with that. Like,
and
if that's
I
your
think
choice,
it makes
do it.
sense that if you're showing him data, like, hey, red meat is way better, like, I don't think he's gonna... Like, it's a tough thing for him to go, you know what, I'm gonna switch up my whole diet because it's gonna mess up, like, all the things that he's already optimized. And it's working for him, you know? It's like, I get why he's like, hey, here's why I'm doing this. Is it the best studies? Maybe not. Actually, Marcus, our friend, who's also vegetarian, smart dude, he told me as well, like, he also knows how to read studies and research and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, like, it's undeniable. Like, vegetarian is good.
But here's the thing. But, like, this, he's hyped up the diet endlessly about how scientifically rigorous it is. And then this is the science he provided. So I think usually if someone's kind of says, I want to be vegan, like, I'm like, okay, you know, do your thing. But if they're like, I want to be vegan and my diet is the best diet on the planet, it's the most scientifically sound, and I have a team of 30 doctors designing it, and I say, oh, cool, can I see the science? And then they produce that, then you're like...
It's like 10 of your friends are all going through the same thing, and you're like, well, that's not enough data. That's not enough evidence.
Yeah. Well, here to play devil's avocado.
Yeah.
He has 30 doctors, and I think the best thing you can do is literally just measure your own stuff, and then have doctors look at it and then just track everything.
Sure.
With him advocating for it, makes sense. Sure. Yeah. But it seems like he does say, like, hey, if meat is your thing, like, go for it.
Leon, actually, let me show you this thing because it's right there. So click on that image, Byran Johnson's biomarkers. Okay. So you see those biomarkers. This is what he posted when he was talking about his diet. And he used a very similar argument. He said, you know, debate the science if you want, but if you look at my biomarkers, they're fantastic. And okay, fair enough. Yeah, you can make the argument, look, it's working so good for me because my biomarkers are great. It looks good. You know, his testosterone at the time he posted this one, he's posted some updated ones. It's 976, really high testosterone. TSH is fine. You know, looks great. Notice how there's no dates on here. So
should there be dates usually?
We'll think about it like this. If someone, let's say, you know, you get your blood sugar and then it's sky high and then the next week it's like fine. Would you be concerned about the sky high instance? Or would you say it's okay? Oh, wait, maybe that's not the best example. So let's say you go to your doctor and then he says, your blood sugar is sky high, but it was fine last year. So let's not worry about it.
Is that enough?
Yeah, you'd be like, wait a minute, what's going on?
The age for this, is this actually his age? Could he have done this 2 years ago? And
Great question. Awesome question, because that's the thing. Everyone wanted to know, did you take these at the same time? So if you have super high testosterone and really low insulin, or you have some marker reflecting that you have a calorie deficit, and it's like making this marker look good, everyone knows that a calorie deficit is going to affect your testosterone. So you want to say, is the testosterone tested at the same time as this other stuff? Did you take these on the same morning? Because the testosterone will be different morning to night. And so then ideally everything would at least be like in the same day. And if you're testing like 1 million biomarkers, okay, maybe you could say in the same week. That's fair enough, depending on which markers you're comparing. He posted an updated one and he admitted himself that they were the best markers in a span of 24 months. So he picked all these different markers over a span of 2 years and then put them all together and said, these are my markers. So to give you some context, I did that 5-day fast and then marathon. and my testosterone dropped 90%. It was like 860 to like 85, something like that. But so that would look terrible. The doctor would be like, "What did you do? Did you go get castrated or what?" But the thing is
Did
my
you hang out with the gay frogs?
yeah, exactly. Did you drink that water? Exactly. So, but my insulin would be really low and my blood sugar would be really low because of fasting and exercising. So I could say like, hey, look how healthy I am. I have sky high testosterone. My insulin's super low. My blood sugar's super low. So I have good metabolic health. But then I don't tell them that the testosterone I'm reporting on was from a week ago before I destroyed my hormones with a fasted marathon. So just in that 1 week, I was able to get to such a dramatic difference. Now we're talking about 2 years.
So much shifts like within a week. Yeah. So like these numbers could be completely different next week.
Oh, easy. Yeah, easy.
Oh, I see your comment down here. When were each
Exactly.
of these tests
When
done?
were each of these tests done?
Oh my god.
And this was before I started investigating him. I was like, what? When are these
Yeah.
tests done?
I definitely want to have Bryan on, and
Oh, please do, man.
yeah. And I get why he's doing it, because it's part of the positioning, right? Like, part of what made him the person that he is now, and everyone knows about it and everyone talks about it, is that he's really well positioned. He's the man who is deciding to live forever, that has the best biomarkers, that all these things, right? And like, you know it too, Imad, right? Like how entrepreneurs market themselves. And it's almost like you always, whenever you see something, you gotta just adjust it in your mind. Like, it's any ad that we see, any marketing piece that we see, it's like, okay, they've before they took the before and after photo of their transformation, they made sure the lighting is really good in their favor, right? It's not necessarily a scam or wrong, but it's like, and so I get why he's doing it, and I think the impact that he's having is incredible. And like, people are talking more about longevity and all this stuff than ever before, and he's making it cool.
I think that's a fair argument. One issue.
But here's the thing: even people hate on Huberman. Like, the people that are deep in the science community are like, "Oh my god, he's the biggest scam of all of them." And I'm like, I think he's simplifying things to reach many, many people and positioning himself in a certain way. And like, the hardcore science people are like, Huberman is a scam. And it's like, and it's, you know.
So, well, Bryan is claiming he has the best biomarkers on the planet. He's also said things like, here, he has got 976 testosterone in those biomarkers. So the natural question is, if you have such high testosterone on a 10% calorie restricted vegan diet at age 47, your testosterone is over 900. Where's your LH and FSH? So LH and FSH would indicate whether someone's taking exogenous testosterone. He didn't post that for a very long time. This came out, I think, in November last year. So over 4 months, no one saw the LH and FSH. So people like Dr. Paul Saladino were calling him out, like, let's see your LH and FSH, because I don't believe, or that's what Paul Saladino said, I don't believe this 976 number. And so finally, if you go back to his Twitter page, you can see that he posted some new biomarkers just yesterday. And he finally posted a blood test result showing his LH and FSH. But the testosterone is now 200 points lower. So like, yeah, 976 testosterone, 10% calorie restricted, 47-year-old vegan diet. That's impressive. But now you're saying, hey guys, here's my receipts for my LH and FSH. But now the testosterone you're posting is so much lower. Like, no one would have made all this hubbub about your testosterone if it was, I think most people would be like, okay, so yeah, 750. Okay, yeah, fair enough. That's pretty high, but it's nothing crazy.
There it is.
Yeah, 748, right? So
LH and FSH is here. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, LH and FSH. So like the LH is above the reference range, it's a little high. FSH is, they're both above the reference range, a little bit high. But yeah, okay, you're not taking exogenous testosterone according to this, but before, the reason people made all this hubbub was because it's over 900. So it's like these little things like this.
Yeah, I think what's most important is why. If he is stretching, well, if he is adjusting the lighting so that his abs pop, metaphorically speaking, why is he doing it? when I see, and what is it causing? Like, for example, if I see people who say that they're natural, but they're clearly on steroids, and they're selling a fitness app, it's like, okay, it gets a bit weird, you know? It gets a bit weird.
It's odd because did you know about the Liver King story?
Yeah, yeah. And
that guy's name.
It just makes young men think that, okay, it's okay to take this is natural and I just need to work out harder and it's just not achievable. And then he has app implants and it's like it has a negative impact. And why is he doing it?
Right.
And then he's also selling stuff, you know? It's like
he was
Byran Johnson. I think he has Blueprint, he has a product and all that. I don't think that's his money maker, to be honest.
See,
okay.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that stretching the truth for the greater good is okay?
No.
Why?
It depends on how stretched is it and what's the impact that it has.
I'm seeing both your perspectives because I see his perspective.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because if you see from like the
I want him in my. Here's the thing. I'm biased in both directions. Number one, I want him in my Netflix documentary again. I want him on my podcast, and I really love the guy, and I think he has a hugely positive impact on longevity space, on even the mainstream health space. On the other side, I am. I'm part of the beef industry. I've been sponsored by Butcher Box before. So I'm part of the beef industrial complex. I'm part of the big beef.
Let me share with you one that I would really like to hear your devil's advocate position on. So like I'm explaining the testosterone. What did I explain? I explained the biomarkers, the whole bad science behind his vegan protocol. This is like, and remember, I have like 28 days worth of content. This is like 3 days worth maybe of what I've discussed. So one of the days that I did, day 25 on the series, is where I talk about a study called BP 5000 that he launched himself. It was BP 5000 hinting at thousands of participants in this particular study, and it was designed to assess the effects of the Blueprint stack in thousands of people for 90 days. And so the people had to pay around $2,000 to be in it because they had to pay for the blood test themselves. They had to pay for the products themselves. And then they did it for 90 days. And at the start of the study, he said to them in writing in the FAQ, I will release the full data set for everybody to analyze at the end of the study. And so the study was completed beginning of last year, if I'm remembering. And he told the participants that he would release the data last year, November 2024. He's never released the full data set. And so everyone, for the longest time, here's the thing, is I got access to the BP 5000 Discord because they made like a little private Discord for all the BP 5000 participants to talk with each other. And there was a glow up thread and there was a side effects thread. And the glow up thread, you can see the messages count before you click on the thread. The number of messages in the side effects thread was 10x that of the glow up thread. And people are talking about all these different side effects like GI issues, diarrhea, constipation, ringing in the ears, insomnia, kind of, not minor stuff. And so then the question is, that looks really bad, but then he could say, oh, well, the overall benefits outweighed the side effects. Then why don't you share the data, like you said? Because he never shared the full data set. All he produced was a tweet, and it has some like random small improvements, like, 10% improvement in calmness, things like that. I'd have to look at it again. But it didn't share the side effects. It was clearly not the full data set. It was not peer-reviewed. It was not published. And so that one is kind of like, how do you explain that away? Why are you not willing to share the data like you said you would? And so I made my post about it. I'm not sure what prompted him to call Nick Norwitz, but Nick Norwitz is a PhD at Oxford. He's about to get his MD very soon. And I said at the end of my video that, hey, Bryan, if you need someone to parse the data and review it and publish it, Nick Norwitz and his colleague Adrian Soto, he's another PhD, they're willing to look at the data and publish it for you for free. And so then, and it was like, get in touch with me and I'll put you in touch with Nick Norwitz. But, Bryan got in touch with Nick Norwitz, totally fine. I was happy he did. And then Nick Norwitz put a tweet about it, super nice, super cordial, be like, hey, I talked to Bryan and so, I like his don't die philosophy, but he didn't give Nick Norwitz the data. I can't remember the excuse he made, but it was something about like legal ramifications, something super vague. But then it's like, what legal ramifications? You know, can you point to what exactly suggests you can't share this data that you promised to all these participants who paid $2,000 each to be in this study? What are the reasons why you can't release the data? So this is kind of like the level of criticism that I'm looking at. It's not just like, oh, I think his diet's bad. It's there's things on this level is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to illustrate what you can expect from the series. It's not just like this guy is pale and his diet is bad. It's some pretty suspicious thing.
I think this is a larger discussion about and just to respond to what do you say to that? Yeah, I would like to see the data as well. I think people may have commented more on the side effects piece because negativity just gets more responses. Maybe there might be like somebody posts a problem, the other people are like, oh, like maybe try this, maybe try that. You know, rather than like glow up, it's like, oh, nice, hey, cool, right?
Yeah, totally fair point. Then why not release it? Why not release the data?
Yeah. I would. Who knows? Maybe. Yeah, I want to be reasonable here, but I'm playing a role here.
No, I know.
I'm playing the role of because it would be boring if I'm just like, oh yeah, cool, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah. I would like to see it. It's very tough. I think this is a larger discussion about the more sciencey you go and like hardcore science and like peer reviewed and whatnot, randomized, the more difficult it is to get it to the masses. And it's almost like a battle between how do I get it to the masses and make fast changes quickly? Like even with RFK, just like, hey, fries and beef tallow. Is it perfect? No. But it's better than what we've had. Let's just go with it. New food pyramid, whatever it looks like, it's going to be better than before. It's not going to be super scientific and perfectly like up to date. And I think this is a battle that every company has that is scaling, and every brand that is scaling is that, hey, we're making a decision between do we grow faster and reach more people that, you know, would benefit from this? Or are we hyper accurate and just like so steelman that like nobody can ever attack us?
Right. So, I mean, yeah, that's I can see where you're coming from. The thing that I would say is, can you show us the data so we know if it should be pushed to the masses? Like, because if the side effects outweigh the benefits, then it shouldn't be pushed to the masses.
I agree with this. With this, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
And I totally see what you mean. You're trying to like play devil's advocate because he's not here. It would be interesting if he was here.
I think Bryan he's not doing this out of malicious reasons. He's doing this because it's like that's the path he chose. Like, okay, let me build a strong personal brand, and like, okay, what would be a great hook? Okay, I'm the healthiest, I'm the most measured, I'm the most, this. It's just marketing. Can he back all that up?
Right.
If you pick it apart, probably not. But I think the impact he's having is great, and I think he does have a great mission that he's on. It's similar to Elon, It's like, yeah, Elon he's a crazy character, and he does have a positive impact. And he's also a bit crazy and doesn't treat his employees always with the most love, as a mild way to put it, right? So,
okay,
yeah,
I see where you're coming from,
and I think people like you are necessary. Right. The CoffeeZillas of the world, the people that are like picking things apart, they're a good counterweight. It's like a counterbalance. So I love both you guys. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
and
like you against Byran Johnson in a boxing match, who's gonna win?
Oh,
are you gonna call him
out? I would
say it's.
I'll do a boxing match. It would depend on who's more trained, but we can do it. Yeah.
Don't start it, dude. This goes viral.
Yeah. Imagine we're starting something here. Like, all right, official announcement: Joseph Everett is challenging Byran Johnson to a boxing match.
There it is. Ding, ding.
December.
He's got to prove he's not on TRT before the match though. That's what I want to.
Making
I want a third party testing his blood.
Would that make all the difference for you?
I mean, I'm like, if he's on TRT and I'm not, then I'm not gonna fight him. He's doping.
But he's older than you.
Yeah. He's 40.
How old are you?
I see.
Doesn't that balance it out? Come on.
Does that balance it out?
Come on.
That's valid. I'll give it. I mean, listen, Leon has a point.
Oh, okay. Before we switch topics, let me point out one thing. So he's gone on so many, because this is just hilarious. He's gone on so many podcasts bragging about his nighttime erections. We were talking about that earlier. He's got this thing that actually measures nighttime erections, and you know there's some health logic behind it. It says some things about your cardiovascular health and so on, and that's part of the reason why he says he does it. And so the thing is he'll go on podcasts. For example, he went on Megyn Kelly's podcast and he was talking about like how his nighttime erections are so long. They are longer than the average 18-year-old's nighttime erections. Time-wise, yeah. Yeah, time-wise. And then and he said all these things and like, oh, nighttime erections are a great measure of health, of cardiovascular health. It's better than potentially cholesterol and blood pressure. And he was like talking about why it's so important and why his are like so superhuman. But he's taking Cialis, the ED medication, the erectile dysfunction medication. Okay.
Cool.
You can.
Thank you for the clarification. I'm like, you're looking at me like, oh my god, wow. Like I'm like, bro, I don't know what Cialis is. So
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining.
Yeah.
So
as if you don't know.
The commercials that say if you have an erection lasting more than 4 hours, go to the hospital. And then he's like, check out my 4-hour erection, guys. But so if you go to his Twitter, if you type in Byran Johnson 2.5 milligrams Cialis, you'll see what I'm talking about. People are calling it Bonergate. They're calling him the Lance Armstrong of boners. Because like, why would you brag about it if you're taking Cialis?
Also,
like
getting a boner at night. I mean,
It's marketing. It is marketing
Yes.
positioning, and he's technically not lying. It's not like he says he's not on anything.
also
fair.
Also,
Okay,
the whole if your boner lasts 4 hours, that's actually a marketing tactic. And that
Is it really?
So that was something that copywriters did a long time ago.
That's
It was like-
hilarious.
and this is again like this is something that one of basically they said that I think Viagra wanted to find a way to like elevate its sales or like mark up its sales, whatever. And they said, well, what's the best way to tell the public our product is the best product without telling them it's the best product? So basically they added that doctor disclaimer, and when they added the doctor disclaimer to it, it shot up.
Oh,
It
interesting.
skyrocketed their whole entire marketing plan.
Wow. Like priapism is a real thing, like an issue with an extended length of erection. But like, I guess it's like, did you need to include that disclaimer?
Literally for Viagra, it was specifically to make more money. I mean, obviously there's maybe some truth to it, but
Yeah.
the way they framed it literally became a staple for like all dick pills.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So that's why when he says marketing, I'm like, dude, it literally is marketing.
Yeah. And what I also see is this is almost like a battle between that I see oftentimes is product people versus marketing people.
Right.
And I'm learning more and more to become a marketing person, especially being on YouTube. But I'm also a product person. I'm like, let's get real. Like, what are the results? What is the actual, and you are that too. And I think he's also that, but he's also learning like, hey, marketing is really important. And you need both. You need both. Because here's the thing. If he wasn't the don't die guy, the most measured man on earth, all of those things, he would literally just be another biohacker. Like, yeah, he would be a niche biohacker that has a blog and just like, yeah, I track stuff and like, it'd be like, okay, cool. Like he built like a big tech company and now he's like measuring stuff.
I mean,
I think a few thousand people would know about him. Now, like millions of people.
That's the thing is like, why has no other biohacker risen to the top? Because they try and play the game fair. Like I could go and say I'm the healthiest person in the world. I could say, look at my biomarkers from the past 2 years and look how amazing they are. And I had like 1,000 testosterone in June because I did this particular experiment, but like now it's totally different. I could do that and make all these claims and take Cialis and say I have the best nighttime erections ever, but I don't do that because it doesn't feel right. And also, if I were selling a product, that's how his marketing is. If you go to his Facebook and Instagram ads, this thing he'll have an ad that it's like, I am the healthiest person in the planet. One thing I do every day is I take Longevity Mix, my product. And so a lot of his marketing is like, here's my story. Here's how I got here. Here's how Blueprint helped me get here. Don't you want to be like that? Take my product. And so then people are like, oh, okay, maybe I can get closer to being the healthiest. Maybe I can have high testosterone. Maybe I can have good erections. But then there's no reason.
There's more to it than just the product itself. There's so many things that got into it that made him have the result. But he's saying, oh, this product is the reason why I had this result. When in reality, it's like, it's this, plus this, plus this, plus this.
Exactly.
That got me the result. But I'm keeping that stuff out and letting you think it's just that one thing that I created.
Right. Yeah. So I guess that's, there is marketing. I know everyone's got to market to a certain degree, or you're not going to, you're just going to crash and burn. You're not going to sell it.
Me and him talk about all the time, because I think we are similar, but also very, very different, because in terms of like how you sell yourself, and the art of selling yourself, in my opinion, is like king in this space. It's like, and I think he has done it phenomenally. He's found a way to take his product, package it in a way that is ideal for his target audience. And I think a lot of people, I think that's the part where that's what differentiates like the good people in this, like the good biohackers compared to the phenomenal biohackers, even though it's not actually, because how many people have you seen that are actually like known as the quote unquote best, like we'll say like Grant Cardone. He's like one of the best gurus in the world for real estate. But let's be real, there are so many more people that are better than him that have significantly like higher net worths around like billion-dollar enterprises, and like, but they just don't know how to market like him. Do they know more than him? 100%. But he's the respected number one real estate agent or investor in the world.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean? So it's kind of like same thing with Byran Johnson. You know what I mean? Like he's the person, he's like the Grant Cardone of this space, but there are so many people that are actually significantly better than him, or might be even healthier than him.
Yeah.
He just found the opportunity. He's like, all right, cool, I'm going to maximize on this. I'm going to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
We need both of you guys, and
A podcast and a fight.
yeah,
Right
that's
there.
coming up. And on that note, yeah,
this
this is Byran Johnson's olive
I
oil.
will try it though. Let me see.
It's
Why did I
I
try
like that.
crappy one?
He called it snake oil, and I like that because it's like taking a jab at people that are like, oh, it's snake. I'm just selling snake oil, and it's his
Is
olive
that
oil.
his olive oil?
Yeah,
Oh, it's okay. It's got that like peppery thing that he was talking about.
yeah, it's really nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I didn't want to spend too much time on it because
Sure,
I don't want to become an exposed channel. But yeah, how are you guys doing, by the way, energy-wise? Are you good?
I'm doing good. I could
Awesome.
grab that water that you gave me.
Dude, we hit 1,800 subscribers now. It's going up and up and up and up and up.
Dude, we're legit.
Yeah.
We're basically famous now.
Yeah, we're catching up quick to channels like What I've Learned.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, give it like another couple of weeks and we'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
Absolutely.
like 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. We're maybe 2 weeks, all right? Don't give yourself credit, all right? Come on. Making 2 million subscribers is easy, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah. We ran into each other at the Health Optimization Summit.
Yeah.
Because you live in Tokyo, right?
I live in Tokyo.
You've been there for 15, 20 years?
13 years.
13 years. Wow. And you're not considering moving to Austin?
Maybe, might set things up to where I can like bounce back between the States and Tokyo more often than I currently am.
Yeah. So we went to the Health Optimization Summit. There's a lot of the cutting edge biohacker stuff where, again, you don't know what is like legit and what is like woo-woo. So much of that, right? It's like this consistent topic throughout this whole episode. We did a skin test, a severity of skin aging, and the image is not loading, but it basically had this image of my face, eyes closed. We both did it. I was so sure that the results are going to be bad, and it was surprising. So
Hold up. So this is the first time you guys ever met this weekend?
in person.
Yeah.
But did you guys know about each other before?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like,
Making
you
a
just
little
met a
bit.
random guy at the summit and you're like, hey, you should know my
No.
podcast.
Every-
Here's my YouTube channel. Like,
Every YouTube creator knows each other.
Why not?
okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But hey, power to you.
So the lady was shocked when she saw that my severity of skin aging was on a scale from 0 to 5 was a 0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really good skin. I'm like, really? Because I've never had a skin routine. I always thought I had bad skin because of acne that I had in the past. It has a lot of texture on my skin, but it's looking really good. And she was like, wow, there's only one other person that I've seen had this, and that was a 22-year-old, and you now. And she couldn't believe it. And I
She
was
was
like,
shook.
she was
shocked.
shaken. She
Yeah.
was.
You were there?
I was there. Yeah.
He did it
She
before
was
me.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What was yours?
I got a 1.
Oh.
Which is also great.
Hey,
Pretty
Grandpa.
good. Pretty good. It's not
It's
Leon
okay. We can
Hendricks,
talk
though.
about it.
But yeah, it basically looked at different. It doesn't show as much for some reason. It's not loading as I
I get it.
like
How
it
do
to.
they know? You just know, like, you can tell your skin is like.
It was a whole report where it showed you the image and it showed the depth of the wrinkles on like the markers and like.
I wish I did that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, one of the things is the forehead. So this is where I have some wrinkles. Then there's like crow's feet right here. Then there's also the glabella. which
Oh
is
yeah,
right here,
yeah.
right.
You
It's a
had
big
like
marker.
no glabella, right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
And then also around the nose and the mouth, like when this starts sagging, this is when you have the, yeah. And man, it's looking good.
He actually got Botox.
Oh,
See what I mean?
So
So
is
that's
this
actually-
a Byran Johnson
Exactly. This is
situation?
what I'm saying. He's show us the reports, all right?
It's loading. Listen, it's loading. And she also told me about a skin condition that I had my whole life, because I told her, hey, for some reason my skin gets really red really easily. Like if I go and like do this on my arm, it's gonna get red really quickly. And she was like, that's me too. She scratched her arm, it got red really, really quickly. And it's called rosacea. And so she immediately gave me tips on like, hey, don't use anything like with harsh chemicals or vitamin C. Be careful with that stuff. I was like, wow, this is where I got the value from going to that conference, honestly.
Is that it?
Yeah, and then just use sunscreen. Use mineral-based sunscreen, not the chemical sunscreen. But yeah, you can start seeing it getting red. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but yeah, that was cool. Did
Is
you see
that part of
anything
why
else?
you're so vascular, or is that just gym?
I think it's gym. It's also genetics. It's just I said this in a previous episode before as well. I've never been fatter than this. Like this is
You've never been fatter than this.
yeah, and I'm
And you're like
I'm
zero,
very
not
lean.
fat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is we could get into fasting with this one here because I did a dry fast in the past. It was one of my first YouTube videos. Yeah, I started off with a. Let me just pull it up real quick, Leon.
That's so cool. I'm dry fasting is really interesting.
This was one of my first videos ever. It's terrible. Do not watch it under any circumstances. But I basically
Do it in the desert.
no, it's just like intro footage.
Okay.
But I basically did this dry fast. I was a young chap, and I didn't have a developed jawline yet. You see that, Imad?
The wrinkles.
I wasn't chewing the gum yet. I was being a lot more goofy in the videos itself. And so I did a hard dry fast where you're not getting in touch with any water.
Is that you?
Have you heard of this guy, Snake Diet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was talking about dry fasts. And so a normal dry fast is, yeah, you just don't drink any water, you don't eat any food, but you can still shower. A hard dry fast supposedly is twice as hard, and you don't get in touch with any water because when you take a shower, you actually rehydrate, and it's supposedly way harder. And I did a 48-hour one just to see, hey, do I survive this? And then for the video, I did a 3-day one. And so one of the things that is hypothesized, I don't know how much science is behind it, but autophagy goes through the roof. Autophagy meaning the self-eating of the cells, which is that the body starts consuming whatever cells are inefficient or dead. And it's sold kind of like a cleanup process. It's a legit scientific thing. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. You're the expert on this, right? But autophagy.
Autophagy is it's
Yeah.
a thing. Yeah.
So, and the idea was that you build muscle memory, but the same thing with fat. You build fat memory, where when you're building fat, your body builds these fat pockets that then get filled up with fat. And then when you lose the fat, it drains the fat out of the fat pockets, but the structure is still there. And when you do a dry fast, those pockets get consumed. But usually it's easier to get fat again because the structure is still there, so then it just gets filled up again, you know? And so I made it a point for me to never become more fat than I am now, because my belief is that when I get older, like, it's going to be so much easier for me to get back to that fat level. And so
That's so interesting. There was
is there something behind it for people who
so
you know?
Nick Norwitz, the person I mentioned earlier, the PhD at Oxford, he actually did a video on this study that was basically what you're talking about, this fat memory. Does that suggest that dry fasting is going to be able to, resolve this? I don't know, but he has a really interesting video on it. Is that, let me see. That looks, and this just came out recently. Let me see. Yeah, can fat cells remember?
Yeah. So
Can
that
you
was
heal the metabolic? Yeah.
that was the
State
theory
of
that I
organs.
heard, and I was like, that it makes logical sense. Are there studies on it? No. Maybe. I didn't know, but it makes logical sense to me that your body builds structure to get fat again, and that's why for some people they gain fat like that, and for me it's just been, I mean, it's also genetic probably, but it's like when I reach a certain level, I stop, and I have a very low tolerance for it.
Did you find anything afterward? Like after a 3-day fast, was it I don't know, were you less hungry? Was it easier to not eat so much? Did you gain fat less? Well, I mean, it sounds like you just always didn't.
I was already eating healthy and I was already lean, and so I was like, I went from feeling great to feeling great.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can't really.
You should have gotten like super fat beforehand. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
One interesting thing that theory about dry fasting is some people say that you'll lose 3 times the body fat if you do a dry fast compared to a water fast, because one of the products of breaking down fat is actually water. So you'll make what's called metabolic water. It's basically the body creating water as a consequence of metabolism, so metabolic water. And so the idea, again, this is something that needs way more research, is that you're going to burn more fat because the body is not breaking down fat just for calories, but so it can get that metabolic water because you don't have any coming in and it still needs to hydrate itself. And then I think this might be the only study giving justification to this, but there was a study in birds, in finches, where they fasted them with and without water. And the birds that fasted without water lost, I think it was 6 times as much fat. And so everyone's like, that's what we're talking about. That's the thing. So of course we need research in humans, but it's like, it's something that's really interesting. It makes me want to try it and experiment for myself. And then like, all right, let's do a DEXA and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see a video on that. But yeah, quick disclaimer to anyone: do not do dry fast under any circumstances. And if you're just thinking about doing it, do normal fasting first. Like I had so much experience already doing intermittent fasting, doing like other food fasts, and then dry fasting was like.
Oh, yeah. What about did you have some crazy side effects or negatives, or did you get a huge headache when you were doing the dry fast?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Okay.
It sucked. Your senses get elevated to a crazy level where I could smell exactly what someone was making in the downstairs kitchen.
That's interesting.
Like elevated senses like crazy. Like I could smell the peanut butter jars in the pantry from downstairs. Like that's how it felt. And I was thinking about watermelon.
Anything with water.
Like all night.
Were you more hungry or more thirsty?
Thirsty. Okay. Yeah, you just like water. Yeah, that overpowers it. Another argument that's made for dry fasting is that when animals get really sick, they don't consume anything. And so for us, it's like a thing, oh, you need to have your chicken soup, you need to eat, what have you found with that? Because I think that's one of those things that might actually be the other way around, where like it might be better to not consume anything, because why do you have a loss of appetite? Why would your body tell you like, oh, I don't want to eat, I don't want to,
Good point. It's one of these things where, are there papers on it that we can reference that are like really robust and telling us exactly what's going on? I don't know of any. I have read this book by this Russian doctor, I want to say. I can't remember what exactly, if he was a researcher or a doctor, but he was all about dry fasting. And he gave a personal example of like the reason he got interested in dry fasting was because his dog got really sick. And then he just let his dog, he was like, well, my dog doesn't want to eat anything. My dog doesn't want to drink anything. I'm not going to force it. And so he just watched, and over a course of a couple days, the dog did the dry fast and then was totally fine. And so that was like a big moment for him that got him really into dry fasting. And so I think the book is called The Water of Life. It's by a Russian person. And yeah, he gives all the ins and outs of dry fasting. And he says that at this point you experience a metabolic crisis and your body temperature goes up, and that happens because of this reason. it's not something that I've verified or want to like hype up too much, because as you said, like, should I be recommending this? I don't know, but I'll experiment with it and tell you what happens.
I will never recommend a dry fast. And
there you go.
Can't stop people who are adventurous like me, you know. Yeah. What else are some cool findings that you've had recently that are aligned with your channel? I know you did the 900 eggs in a month experiment, and I think the way you sold it in the video was there's some guy who compared it to doing a natural steroid cycle.
Yeah. So that was the like kind of reasoning for trying this crazy experiment. So there's two reasons. By the way,
that should be the packaging of that video.
How do you mean?
The natural steroid cycle is 900 eggs in 1 month. Is that literally like a natural steroid cycle without the, that should be the packaging of it. That should be the title.
I ate 900 eggs in a month. Is it as good as a steroid cycle? Something like that? Or like?
Yeah, in the thumbnail, it should be like natural steroid cycle published by some, something that looks scientific and legit, wherever you got it from.
Yeah, no.
Do you know YouTube?
I don't know a thing or two, yeah. But
yeah, no, Leon's got a great sense for like thumbnails and titles.
What did you find in that?
Yeah, so that was the interesting thing. I mean, it wasn't, this bodybuilder Vince Gironda claimed that, I think it was D-ball, the steroid, that he said that it was as good as. And he did say it had to be 36 eggs and it was for 8 weeks. But I was kind of like, okay, if it's supposed to be as good as a steroid cycle, then 30 eggs for half that time, 4 weeks, should probably do something. And so, I did it. I ate all the eggs for the whole month. But to be totally honest, was it as good as a steroid cycle? I don't really think that's appropriate to say at all. So I would never sell it that hard. It was like a good bulk. But then, if you wanted to make the argument that, well, you'd get similar results if you just ate a bunch of beef and rice, like, okay, maybe. What was really interesting was to see what it did to my blood markers, because I imagine everyone, and that's kind of why I titled it that way, what happened to my cholesterol? Because I imagine everyone would be like, my cholesterol went insane because you ate these cholesterol-rich eggs, 900 of them over a month. But I don't know if you guys saw the video, but what would you expect that would happen to my cholesterol?
Look at him. Bad.
Yeah, it would, like, you'd think, it would skyrocket, right? I did the test.
All from eggs?
Huh?
All from the eggs?
Yeah.
That's like the thing, right? It's like, don't eat too many eggs. Your cholesterol is going to go through the roof.
They say that about meat too.
Yeah.
And then, so I did it, and I mean, you can skip to the end if you want, but my cholesterol didn't change. I think it might have gone up like 2 points, which is basically insignificant. So yeah, I got all the blood tests, and then LDL cholesterol went from 102 to 108, like 6 points. Tiny change. And then that was in a week, and then I ate another however many, 720 eggs or something.
Yeah.
Didn't change.
Wow.
Dude, I'm like thinking about your doctor, and every time he goes in every week for a blood test, he's like, dude, you're here. At this moment, you're like a premium member.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, going back to the fasting, this guy, the snake diet guy, he did an experiment too where he ate McDonald's for 30 days, but he would fast in between. And same thing there. It's like he had great blood markers after that. In some ways, even better. Because his point is that when you're fasting, it doesn't matter so much what you eat because there's a lot of cleanup happening. That was his hypothesis. And so...
his idea was like you can eat total junk because like autophagy and the gut reset and all that is going to take care of it.
Yeah, you can get away with a lot more. And it makes sense logically. But yeah, I just think about people who struggle to lose weight, and I'm just like, why don't you just do a fast? It's like the ultimate. It's like, do you want to lose 5 pounds? Like you can do it in a week. Like, and you made a video too debunking the concern that a lot of people have, which is, how much muscle am I going to lose?
Oh yeah, so there was that one. There was two kind of like debunking fasting concerns. One was this one: does fasting really destroy muscle? Another one was about the testosterone. And so here, I think a big distinction to know in this one from like, does it really destroy muscle? So the key point is I compare Angus Barbieri and this guy David Blaine, the magician, illusion artist, and all that. So he did like a 40-day fast in a box above London. Pretty impressive. Like
40-day fast, like no food.
No food, only water for 40 days.
For 40 days.
Yeah. He lost a huge amount of weight.
No food for 40 days. It's actually
44 days.
It's actually not that crazy.
That's the thing. Angus Barbieri did a year.
It's
without
actually
food.
There's a documentary called
Year no food.
There's a documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Have you heard of it? It's people doing juice fasts. So they still have some calories, but there's literally these morbidly obese people that go on a juice fast for over a year. They just drink juice. That's it. And they're doing well. And so 44 days is not that crazy because after 3 or 4 days, when you do a fast, after 3 or 4 days, that's really tough because you have a headache and you're just like so hungry. You lose hunger. And after like day 4, when I did a fast for the first time, I was like, I could keep going. Day 5, day 6, day 7. After 7 days, I was like, I could just keep going. I'm good. And so I think David Blaine was biased to be like, oh, I have to make it look like this difficult thing where I'm like, oh, because like if he was like, oh, I'm actually fine, guys, like it would be like, you know.
I think, I wouldn't go.
Well, he lost a ton of muscle, right?
He lost a ton of muscle, and the thing is he barely moved at all. So that is just wretched for muscle. There are some studies finding like, there'll be some very well-trained people. I can't remember if they're bodybuilders or athletes, but then they had to do a certain amount of bed rest and it just wrecked their muscle really rapidly. And then Jeff Nippert has a video where his friend had a Crohn's disease flare-up and then he had to do bed rest for a while, and you just see him go from like pretty well-muscled guy to just totally skinny. So even if you're not fasting, like being able to move around, like constant bed rest, that is just awful for your muscle. But then, combine that with the fasting and you're getting like the worst possible result, because there's 2 ways to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, and maintaining your muscle is basically, you want to balance the factor that is, the constant degradation of muscle that is happening just as a matter of course. You want to balance that with things that stimulate muscle, so muscle protein synthesis. And the 2 ways to do that is with protein and exercise. So he's not getting any protein, and then he's removed the only other stimulus that is going to preserve your muscle. So it just, shredded through his muscle. And then Angus Barbieri, I guess, you would think he would just be a complete, how do I put it, like a cripple or something after a whole year without food. But I would imagine he was like living a normal life, doing his lifestyle, and then I think it's going to show his result. And he's kind of skinny. He's not like muscular or something, but you would, if he lost it at the same rate as David Blaine, he would have been
he would be
dead.
a negative human. He would be like minus 100 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Of muscle.
Exactly. Yeah. So prolonged fasting in this patient had no ill effects.
So the key, I think you mentioned this in this video actually, which is where Tim Ferriss did it fast, supervised by professionals, and he lost 7 pounds of muscle. And then later he did another fast. The only difference was he would go for walks. Exactly. And he barely lost any.
Yeah. He said in his book he lost 0 muscle.
Just walking.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a fast,
if you're doing
here's
a fast,
the thing.
Move around like as much as you can. I did another video where
He is for the show. Yeah, right. He definitely is. Could be for the show.
It could be for the show. I mean, that's his thing. He's a showman. And if he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing fine, like
maybe he didn't have to go to the hospital. Fair. And then maybe he also refed in like a really bad way, and then it messed up his blood markers. I don't know David Blaine. I wouldn't go as far as saying he did it on purpose for the drama, because I imagine it's pretty dangerous to do something like that. So I don't think he would like go that far.
So refeeding, meaning eating again after a fast, is I've heard is more important than the fast itself. Like doing it right.
Yeah.
Because you're introducing new foods that will determine the gut bacteria moving forward, or why is it?
Yeah, so that's a good angle. Another one is basically like you have this window where all your cravings are basically reset after the fast. And I think most people who do a prolonged fast, they notice that. They're like, oh, whoa, I'm just like, maybe they had like a terrible diet and they're just like, I just want like a steak or something. I just want like, you know, a whole food. I just want like some chicken, you know. Maybe not everyone. Maybe they're like kind of excited and be like, oh, it's gummy bear time or something like that. But the thing is there was a study finding that people did a prolonged fast. I want to say it was either 12 or 14 days. Super long fast, almost 2 weeks. And these were obese people who had tried to lose weight through calorie cutting diets before, but they were not able to do it. And then the study was like, these people were able to be perfectly satisfied, was the wording in the study, with 800 calories for, I think, a week. So they were eating like, you know, 60% calorie restricted diet for a week and allegedly were perfectly satisfied. Now, there's other studies suggesting that certain hunger hormones are decreased after a fast. And I've noticed that personally, that I can just, if I wanted to cut a bunch after a fast, continue cutting, I could eat it like a really low calorie diet. But if you go in and binge immediately, you've kind of like reset the system where like your body's like, oh, okay, it's time to like you have a window of opportunity to maintain the lowered hunger, or you can completely obliterate it and go back to like your normal hunger, or maybe even more if you just like go and binge. So it, you know, there's a psychological aspect of wanting to celebrate and like have like a pizza party or something. It's like, you did it, you completed the fast, finally you can eat. It's gonna feel so amazing, but you have to do it. So yeah, just like you're saying, I would say the refeeding is just as important as the fast.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because even like I fasted for Ramadan for the past 30 days. Like last month.
It's like intermittent fasting, right? Because
Well,
you eat every day.
We eat, yeah, but it was like you're intermittent until like from sunrise to sunset.
So like, that's intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I guess on the high, like, because when I think of intermittent, I think of like from the morning to like 2 p.m. But compared to this one, it was like until like 8 p.m. So basically, I didn't eat all day, and then at night I would eat from like 8 to like maybe midnight, and I would just,
and it's like dry fasting, right?
no
right?
water, nothing.
Okay.
Like you can't have anything. Like even people that just smoke whatever, you couldn't smoke. You couldn't do anything. No, nothing can go inside of you. And what I realized, like obviously, like by day 20, your stomach got smaller. Like you didn't have to eat as much anymore. You didn't even feel it. Muscle wise, I lost a lot of fat, but I didn't lose the tonality and muscle. But I would also do daily walks every single day. And then I had to be very careful, like, because I was trying to be. I'm starting to like learn more about like just calorie intake. So it's not really about the bad food. It's about how much calories you take and how much your vitamins and like nutrients you're getting from each one of those, like whatever food sectors. But it was interesting because like I noticed my body, I got significantly healthier. I was more like just on point. My focus was a lot better. My memory was a lot better. Yeah. Just from doing a fast like that, and good for my health overall.
Yeah, absolutely. We also recently had a guy as Guru of the Week who only ate potatoes for a year. Did you hear about this guy?
I think I've heard this. I didn't know it was a whole year. I thought it was like a month.
There were guys like that who did that, but there was a guy who did it for a year. And so it kind of sparked an idea that I had.
You said you had him on the channel?
Nope. No. We just featured him basically.
Oh, I see.
A new segment, which should be book ideas. So this is something I've been working on. I want to run it by you to see. So we had this last week. Okay. Like we like nonviolent communication didn't really make sense.
Dude, it's a bestseller. You didn't know that?
Oh man, I could guess by the title.
I'm just saying.
There's a lot of dickheads that talk violently too.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Should be book idea number 2. I think you'll love this. It's already in the works, but I just want to pitch it to you in case you want to invest. But we see a massive rise in the awareness of people, right? The world is obviously toxic. Gluten is bad for you. Oil brain, you talked about it, terrible. You have it right now because you lost the game earlier. How bad is fluoride? Eating vegetables is harmful. All these things. And this is why we have to go to extremes to be healthy, right? Joe Rogan only eating bison. Steve only eating fruit. Bryan is his son's blood, right?
Yeah.
Clearly the key isn't what you eat, but it's what you don't eat.
Yeah.
So there's a massive rise in extreme diets. You know, we see the fruitarianism diet, the potato guy that I talked about, who also didn't have any food cravings after that. So it was one of the things he mentioned too.
Wait, is the left the after?
I think so. I haven't seen this. This is actually a different guy.
Okay.
But it leaves a gap in the market.
Okay.
Where are the extreme diet cookbooks?
It's not a bad idea.
So many complicated ingredients. So we are writing that book, The Extreme Eats Cookbook, recipes for extreme diets. You can pick only one meal and eat it, and only it every single day, and achieve peak human performance. We can only have a few recipes ready. The healthy blueberry pie. Ingredients: blueberry. Instruction: mix blueberry and more blueberry in pie dish. Serve cool. Tastes like the blueberry pie. I'm a fan of simplicity. This one is my go-to every day. It's the beef salad bowl. It's ingredients: beef, salt for flavor. Instruction: you can cook the beef fully or just 50%. Add salt, and you can serve it in the bowl. Or just refrigerate. It's
got a good variety of colors. You got like pink, red, another shade of red.
That's for the flavor.
Yeah.
A bit of brown too, the cooked parts.
Oh yeah.
And a drink as
Fully
well. The raw.
50%.
You like this one? The raw egg colada between
good.
1 and 12 raw eggs.
That's my personal favorite.
Oh yeah, that was my go-to party drink when I was doing the egg experiment.
Yeah. What do you think? Would you invest in this? Should this be a book or?
I think
it's genius.
I think I can come up probably with like another like four recipes.
Yeah.
I think it would be a bestseller if you said you're the healthiest person on the planet.
How do we send you money?
Damn. Shots fired again.
Yeah. Just let that slide, but no.
Yeah. Well, how are we doing on what's that?
Venmo?
I take Venmos.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I'll send my investment.
How much?
ASAP. Maybe $12.
Wow, that's impressive. I was gonna give $4.
$12 is gonna be 30% of the company. So, at the current valuation.
Perfect, man. It's been a great Shark Tank episode.
Guru of the week this week is a quantum biologist. He is the most influential doctor in the RFK camp right now. He wrote constitutional amendments in El Salvador. He is the perfect representation of this podcast, which is hardcore fringe science with being an actual scientist. Willing to say what everyone is afraid of. He's also going after Huberman, Joe Rogan, Trump, random people on Twitter. Rick Rubin goes to him for health advice, and he's also, Jack Dorsey was one of his patients. This is Dr. Jack Cruz. You've heard of him?
Oh, of course, yeah.
I've only heard of him today from my team who suggested him as Guru of the Week. That's the guy. And so, yeah.
Would you let your child stick their head in a microwave and then hit the popcorn button? Because that's effectively what you do when you give it an iPad. In fact, can I tell you the person that invented the iPad knows this? And can I prove it definitively? Oh, yeah. Steve Jobs. Read his biography. What did he say? He said the iPad 2, they put a device in it so that when the device touches the child's skin, it turns off the Wi-Fi signals. And you want to know the crazy part of the story? Crazy part of the story, Apple never told anybody it was in there. Why? Because if Apple would have told you that they had this in there, you would have asked the next question that General Groves didn't want you ever to know about. Is this harmful for me?
Wild. Now, is this conspiracy, or is this like hardcore science, like he's onto something? And there's like 10 of those things.
Right. That's the tricky thing with Jack Cruz is he's got some really interesting points about light and grounding and magnetism and how it affects the body. The thing though is like these particular stories where like, okay, this is why this particular person specifically tried to do this. They like conspired against the average person so that they could exhibit these negative health effects. Like, I'm like, is that?
Yeah. There's a lot of conspiracy stuff behind it. So this here as well. And so again, he's somebody that openly talks about, RFK called me and, I was talking to him about this and stuff like that. So he is in that making America healthy again camp. But he also just makes some wild like shots at people like Huberman and Joe Rogan.
I turned down Tucker Carlson because he's part of the problem.
Okay.
I would never go on Joe Rogan for the same reason, because he's also tied to the global elites.
How is Rogan tied to the global?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But the bottom line is I've been very public about both of those things. When I did the Rick Rubin podcast, I didn't answer him for 6 weeks. Why?
because he wanted me to talk to Huberman, and Huberman's part of the SRI crew, Stanford Research Institute. That's who became MK Ultra after, and then goes to the Brain Health Initiative. I don't expect you to know any of this because you're not a doctor.
Right.
I don't think that you're going to know these things, but I believe the people that are steering where you're going and what you're doing and your message.
Me. Well, nobody's steering, Jack. Like,
This is he was framed as a pharma lobbyist that he's debating. But yeah, he's just straight up calling out.
Wasn't he like an ex-pharma lobbyist?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't see the episode actually, so this is sent to me
I'm
by
just
my
I mean,
team.
Callie Means. I think he like used to be a pharma lobbyist.
Yeah. Interesting episode to bring him on with a pharma lobbyist. It's like bringing you and Byran Johnson on an episode. We're gonna make it happen.
That'll be a while. That would be a viral episode.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I mean,
They become best friends after it.
yeah, be bros.
Hopefully, I would love that.
I saw a couple clips from that episode actually. The one with Callie Means. It sounded like what I get interested in is I haven't watched too much Jack Kruse, but when he's talking about light and how it affects dopamine neurons and how blue light can actually be harmful for dopamine neurons, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting idea. And then I look it up, and there's actually some studies suggesting that may be the case, that blue light is not very good for, I think it was a substantia nigra, which is like it's one of the parts that is producing dopamine. I'm kind of speaking off the cuff in terms of what I remember, so I don't want to get anything wrong, but there's some interesting ideas, and then I'll like go and be like, is that true? And I look it up, and I was like, oh, hey, there's something to this. But then all this like conspiracy stuff, I'm not really too familiar with it. Yeah. He says all this stuff, and then it's like, okay, can that be verified? How do I verify it? Could there be an alternative explanation? Like, I mean,
yeah, it's like, hey, we see this correlation, and then there's like this conspiracy stuff with it that he attaches to it, which is with the iPad. Yeah, there may be some harmful effects. Is it that, like, how do they include the infrared sensor, and how do they know it's a child that's holding it? Like, what's...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then his connection is like, oh, they didn't want you to tell you, but maybe they're just like, yeah, no, we don't want it to be around humans.
Or could
I don't know.
Right.
That's a lot of that I saw at the Health Optimization Summit, right? Like everyone's walking around with the glasses. Like I got these, by the way. These are from Raw Optics, and the guy from Raw Optics, Matt Maruka is his name. He's also a huge fan of light, so you also see him like in the sunlight all the time. So it's like good stuff. I love these glasses; they're great. But then even at the Health Optimization Summit, it's mixed with this like conspiracy stuff with the
I don't know if I would say that it was that much. I didn't, some of the products, well,
not conspiracy stuff, but I mean like stuff that's like people quickly throw certain words around, and they're like it's the same thing with Joe Dispenza talking about like quantum mechanics, and there's a field, and I'm like, is that really science? Like, how good is that? I know it sounds like science. Is it really science?
Right.
There's quantum mechanics and all that stuff. So I'm like, man, as someone who's very uneducated about this stuff, and just like, I just listen to messengers like Huberman.
Yeah.
How would I know? It's just
right. I just to be clear, like I really enjoyed this summit, and I don't have any affiliation. Let me see. Unless Element was there, I don't have any affiliation with any of the sponsors, but the vendors.
I do. I have more affiliations.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I have a bunch.
But so I haven't like looked at them, and there was nothing where I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't check out. There were some things where I was like, I don't know the science behind it. So I can see what you mean. Like if you don't understand the science behind it and you're going, and then all you have is like the presentation you get, then it's like hard. Like how do I evaluate this? Because
and
so I see what you mean.
It's just such good marketing. Just going back to marketing, right? Where I remember this one guy, this guru that we reacted to, was like drinking his own urine for 17 years, and he was showing, which I think there's probably some health benefits to it. I'm not going to do it.
Wait, was it the guy with the big beard?
I think he has a big beard. Yeah. Okay. he also showed like a skincare thing, which is like it's in a specific bottle that like blocks these kind of rays, and the longer you have it, the better the product gets. But that's just a side note. And I'm just like, man, this is just literally the perfect marketing for people who are into anything health and believe anything. And so I see that oftentimes too with like, health products in general, where it's just like,
it's tricky. Like you just, like that's always the thing, is like there's just like this insane amount of information out there, and everyone's got a reason for everything, and then you have to like go, and it's like, what is the rule of thumb for truth, and how do you identify truth? And that is probably the most difficult question you could think of. I mean, you could get super philosophical, or even spiritual, and I don't think.
And they did an episode together, Dr. Jack Kruse with Andrew Huberman.
Oh yeah, I saw it. It was.
You watched it?
I listened to it, and it was, Kruse was being, like, just really adversarial to Huberman, and it just seemed kind of unnecessary. Like, you can make your points without making it an attack. You could like ask questions or something. I was just kind of like, why?
He said it before in the episode. He sees him as part of SRI, Stanford Research Institute. Therefore, he's an evil person. And so it's just like, I don't know.
But then my question is like, what's like,
same thing with this here?
So you have now the guys in the centralized tower tell you who can review it, and then once they review it, they decide if it get published or not.
Got it. So this is a
good point.
Okay.
Good point.
Centrally controlled, semi-permeable membrane.
Do you want to hear the worst part that we haven't talked about yet?
This is where it goes very far.
Do you know who owns that system? Robert Maxwell and Ghislaine Maxwell. How's that?
Oh,
you didn't think Epstein?
They own what?
I don't know, but this is where it gets
Maxwell. into. How's that? You didn't think Epstein was going to come into this environment?
Boom.
That'll turn some heads for sure. I'm not specifically sure what he's referring to, but
yeah, I don't know what it is about some people that just like they see a conspiracy behind everything, where they're just like there's like the few people that are like controlling everything, and I think yes, there are biases, yes, there are people who control things, but it's not like this mastermind of like lizard people that are just like, but I feel like people like him are just like, it points back to that, and then they see someone like Huberman and they're like, oh, he's part of it, not part of the circle but part of their organization and whatnot. It's just like, oh, man.
Yeah, it's tricky, and like people, you always use like mental rules of thumb. Like maybe you have some guy, there's a picture of some guy with I don't know, whoever, Jack Kruse, and then everyone's like, aha, so you're an affiliate of Jack Kruse. And it's like, no, I was being polite and got a picture with him because someone was taking a picture, but then the immediate mental, like it feels like such a gotcha. Like if someone was like, I would never work with Jack Kruse, he's such a bad guy, just as an example, and then they're like, boom, got a picture of you with Jack Kruse. It's like, so I met him at a conference. This was before I knew. So these kind of mental shortcuts of like, we'll see.
That's it. It's mental shortcuts that are made like, oh, do you know why Steve Jobs put this in the iPad? Because boom. And it's like, wait, this is where we went wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm not saying iPads are good for you. I think they are bad. I think we're better off not having them on our bodies. But just these quick conclusions that they draw.
Yeah. So I've
like
had...
even just like, have you seen the whole... Sorry, go ahead. I'm interrupting.
Oh, no. You're good.
Like, have you seen the Bill Gates thing where he gives some talk and he's like, he's worried about population. And then people use it as proof that like, see, he did want to kill half the people with the COVID vaccine. That's proof. And it's like, well, you're making a huge jump there that he's like, hey, overpopulation is a problem. And then he is like, here's the, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you always end up like, what is like the more charitable interpretation? And have you considered that? So like, with the mental shortcuts, for example, I've had situations where I've been on Twitter and then someone said something and I reacted to it. And then they reacted and they're like, hey, that's not fair because you didn't include this context. And I was like, oh. And then I replied to them and I'm like, okay, I'm going to redo my tweet and I'll include that context. So let me delete this tweet. And then I post a new one. And then that person will like screenshot that and be like, Joseph said this. I called him out and he deleted his tweet. I'm like, whoa. I told you I was going to delete it to be fair, to include your context. And then I reposted it within 10 minutes. They're like,
screenshot that and then send that to
bam. Yeah.
The tiny bit of editing, you can make anyone look.
Right.
Dude, I think everybody tries to look for the negative in a lot of things. And I think that's like what's wrong, where it's like people just want to nitpick at specific things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. Like, and I think it happens a lot with like the media now, especially where like he does something wrong. And now it's kind of like you just said it yourself. You posted that tweet and they're like, they want to get that for attention or to prove a point that, I mean, what's going to happen? If you prove this point, okay, so you were wrong. What now?
Yeah, it's like, you know, okay, I didn't include the context and then I admitted it and then I redid the tweet. I thought that was like the right thing to do. Or yeah, so it's like difficult to, because it's almost like the first impression always matters depending on what it is, you know. So like with the example of like, there's a picture of that guy with that guy. And then the first impression, the first like not logical, but like rule of thumb jump is like, oh, they must be best friends or something, you know.
Yeah, just assuming the worst.
Yeah.
And I see that in some people and friends of mine or family members where whatever they see, they assume the worst. And what I've seen as a pattern in their life is that they have been betrayed a lot. They have trust issues. And so it happens in their relationships, it happens in their intimate relationships, in their family relationships. And then when they take it to the global stage of the news, it's, oh, they're doing this because there's a big plan behind it. It's like, slow down. And I'm not saying Bill Gates is good or bad or whatever. I don't know. But saying that he wants to kill, like, really? Like,
yeah, and I mean, like, let's say he did have an evil plan. I don't think he would reveal it at a TED Talk.
Oopsie, I said it. Oopsie. It's one of the biggest stages.
Yes. Like, is he good? Is he an evil mastermind or an evil idiot? Like, what?
Dude, I think everything is connected to everything and somehow, and people just try to find these little small things that try to justify it.
You connected to Epstein.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
I was on his island.
There it is, guys. Thanks for watching. We're ending the episode on this note. See you in the next one. Are we ending the episode now?